we are not rare. But before you leave, you will perceive the lore will be unlocked. You might be stalked by a Sasquatch or a ghost witch, possibly even a ghost that will boast about knowing the Ohio grassman or even the Michigan dogman. Werewolves hunt, poltergeists are up front, but in these backwoods folklore is unlocked.
Welcome back to Folklore Unlocked. I'm Austin, and like always, I'm joined by Ethan.
Yep, hello again, everyone.
And this week, we are taking a look at the Crenshaw House for our 99th episode on our countdown to a total of 100 episodes. And a little bit background about the house and property. It's located in Equality Township, which is located in Gallatin County, Illinois, and was the main residence of John Crenshaw, his wife Francine, and their 5 children. And it's also known as the Crenshaw Mansion, Hickory Hill, or the Old Slave House. And it was constructed in the 1830s, and it was a station on the reverse Underground Railroad, which brought freed African Americans back into slavery. So, yeah, just a little heads up. John Crenshaw was not a good guy.
Yeah, so John Hart Crenshaw, he ended up leasing some property to saline springs on the Illinois salines. So basically, that's just water that has very high concentrations of salt. Salt, of course, is very important back then for like preserving meats and stuff like that, and minerals. Anyways, so he was also, like we said, part of the reverse Underground Railroad, so he was an illegal slave trader, and one of the small minority of Illinois residents which were legally allowed to own slaves, as it was a free state, though certain laws allowed him to use slaves, especially on the saline springs.
And while doing research, it was because no, and think this might not be the exact quote, but more or less during my research, it said because he was allowed to use slaves at the Salines because no free man would want to do that hard work, was the reason given that I found.
Yeah.
Different times.
Yeah, still not that great of a guy.
Exactly. And the person that ended slavery, or at least had a big part in it, future President Abraham Lincoln, did visit the property, which would sound weird now. He visited the property in 1840 while he was an Illinois state representative, and the Crenshaws hosted a ball in honor of the debates that brought Lincoln to Gallatin County.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, the president that ended slavery going to a slave owner's house, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird to look back on nowadays that, Abraham Lincoln is known for 2 things. You know, the Emancipation Proclamation / ending slavery, and, getting a bullet put through his head, is putting it nicely.
Okay, and then, of course, there is the attic, which was reportedly had noises including whimpering, crying, and rattling of chains but reportedly no one can stay the night in the attic. So this is in the future here, people trying to stay in the attic because it's kind of haunted. And apparently the attic was where they ended up keeping the slaves. I think they had 12 rooms up there or 12 beds or something like that. And it was basically kind of a jail to keep the free slaves they were trying to send through the reversed railroad, or escaped slaves they were trying to send back.
Yeah, again, John Crenshaw, not a very good dude. And then the other reports, people report feeling strong senses of sadness, fear, and senses of being watched in the slave quarters. So the attic and other places where the slaves lived. Others report cold spots and the feeling of being touched by unseen forces. And the others even report that figures and apparitions are spotted throughout the mansion.
So it sounds just straight up haunted. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Just and on to our thoughts because I'm gonna get into my thoughts here. Just like most places with violent histories, which slavery was slave owners were pretty violent for the most part against their slaves and worked the people that were slaves way too hard for literally nothing. And with everything that happened on the property, I'm honestly not surprised that the house and property is reportedly haunted. Whether it is or not, I don't know. Never been there. You're not allowed on the property anymore because the state of Illinois owns it, and to get back up to code that for people to go into it, I read that it would cost the state like a ton of money, which honestly could go to other places or better use of Illinois taxpayer money, but that's a different story for a different channel to get into.
Yeah, I'm kind of mad because I tried to find pictures of the attic. I couldn't really find a picture. Like, I found one picture that could have possibly been in the attic, but it was just of like one side of the house, like the window. And I'm like, that's not enough to tell where we're at. So I wish I could have had a picture of that. But I don't think it's haunted per se. But it is a very creepy place that some bad stuff happened in. So I'm guessing that's just a reason why people think it's haunted.
Yeah, again, old place, tragic backstory, usually equals at least one or two ghost stories. That's pretty much the solution to or at least that's the solution to most of the stories that involve ghosts and old places. It's like, oh, old creepy place that was built. Oh, tragic history. Oh, that explains the knocking sounds when it's probably just the place falling apart.
Yeah, it sounds like it wasn't in very good shape. You said if they couldn't let anyone inside of it, so
Yeah, but I think that's all we've got for this week. Next week, look out for our 100th episode, which is which will be all about Bigfoot. Again, I know this is like our seventh, eighth, maybe ninth episode about Bigfoot or a Bigfoot-like creature, but there's just tons of Bigfoot Bigfoot and Bigfoot-like creatures, and just a bunch of different Bigfoot alleged sightings. So we'll just milk the Bigfoot cow dry here. So, any last words, Ethan?
Just thanks for watching, everyone.
Well, thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, leave us a like, comment, and subscribe. If you're on Spotify, drop us a follow and a comment. And we'll see you next week.
You might wake up beside Spearfinger with an extended visit from Jack the Ripper. But if you're lucky, it'll be an angel on that range hill of Louisiana. You might meet Mary Laveau or the Rougarou. At Folklore Unlocked, Austin and Ethan concoct their theory of the eerie and unexplained around the world, sometimes even the underworld. The lore is locked behind secrets, the folklore is meant to be unlocked. The Sokoloo is haunting NC as well as Tennessee. There are many giants that might be clients of the Dark Watchers, who might have psychokinesis. And the phantom time hypothesis is like a phoenix, coming back around again and again. The laser strain on your brain if you've got more than 2 brain cells in you. Some believe McCartney is dead because they read into the Mandela effect, which is subject to folklore.